Donald Trump isn't the only Republican, by the way, returning to D.C. after a hiatus. Indiana Congressman Marlin Stutzman was elected to the House in 2010, and then he gave up his seat in 2016 to run in a primary for U.S. Senate, but lost to Todd Young. So he was out of office. But after 8 years away from D.C., he's back, and we're glad to have him with us on Newsmax. So, Congressman, it's good to have you. You know, it's funny, you and I are kind of similar. I mean, I ended up losing a race, but I left office for Westchester County Executive 7 years ago. And you had, I think what I had, political shingles, you know, and it's the desire to run for office, but it kind of lies dormant. It breaks out at any time. So what made you want to get back into the game?
You know, great to be with you this afternoon. You know, one of the things that I knew when I lost back in 2016 is that I just really had a heart to serve, and I really enjoyed serving the people of Northeast Indiana in Indiana's 3rd District. But I'm also a businessman and an entrepreneur at heart, and growing up on a farm in Northeast Indiana and building businesses with my family, I knew that if I ever had the opportunity to build businesses that I would. Well, after losing that election, I had that opportunity. And so really grateful for it, because I had 4 years of being in the business sector under President Trump, and then had 4 years of doing business under President Biden. And they were very different experiences. And after watching what President Trump went through in his first term in office, I knew that at some point, if I had the opportunity to serve, I would want to do that again. But I didn't know that I would have the opportunity to do it with President Trump returning as well. So this is a great experience for me, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
So you really do get a different perspective when you're out of office and you live like a normal person, and you see the nuttiness of government. You know, in your case, you know, in the private sector, you felt the differences. What do you think you're going to do differently this time around, having been in, then out, and now back again?
Yeah, well, you know, the first 6 years that I served was from 2010 during the Tea Party wave. It was Obamacare. That passed, of course, and then I felt that, I had to do something to help make sure that we kept our country on track. And we were fighting President Obama during those 6 years. And a lot of times, you know, we talk about what's the most important election of our lifetime. Well, I believe 2016 was the most important election of our lifetime. And the fact that President Trump won truly kept America, you know, able to be, put back on track. Well, of course, not much happened during that time. But now that we've got the Senate, the House, and of course, President Trump leading the way, President Trump won this election. And we as House members and Senate members need to look to him for leadership and be willing to stand strong and support him, because so many folks back home have really struggled to make ends meet over the past 4 years. And we know what a good economy looks like under President Trump, and we also know what a very bad economy looks like. So my goal is to make sure that the Republican conference is unified, standing strong behind Speaker Johnson, ultimately supporting President Trump and the agenda to get America back on track.
So what excites you the most about having not only a Trump presidency, but as you mentioned, the House and the Senate are Republicans? So really, Republicans have the keys to everything in D.C., so it's all going to be on them, on you guys, you know, pro or con, blame or success. What excites you the most?
Well, I get the opportunity to be on the budget committee, and being an entrepreneur and a small business owner, I understand budgets have to work. And the fact that our budget is so out of balance, we have deficits and debt. When I left in 2017, the debt was 17 trillion, and now it's 36 trillion. It's almost doubled. It's more than doubled. And so we have got to focus on our budget. I mean, you know, China is a threat, Russia's a threat, but I believe that our debt and deficits are the greatest threat to America being a strong nation, not only to be able to help our fellow citizens, but to also make sure that there's strong security around the world. And we have to also focus on the border. We've seen President Biden just completely neglect his presidential responsibilities at the southern border. And so President Trump's going to come in and start making sure that we have a secure border, getting our budget back in balance, making sure that we cut spending. And also, I believe that the tax cuts have to be made permanent as well. So this reconciliation package that is going to be going through the Budget Committee is a very big piece to Trump's agenda and also ultimately the American people's agenda.
All right, so anyone can cause agita to everybody else, right? So how do you stay unified in the House with the slimmest majority? You can have one defection. Each member can hold everybody else hostage with their demands. Can everyone kind of come together, talk this through, not have public fights, kind of like what we did with the Speaker? You know, we dealt with that a little bit. But what are you expecting with that?
Well, you know, back in 2017, we saw that Speaker Paul Ryan wasn't on the same page with President Trump when President Trump took office. I saw that even as I was leaving, that there were a lot of disagreements, even about the campaign. And so I think the focus wasn't where it should have been, and that there should have been support from Speaker Ryan and other Republicans that weren't supportive of Trump's agenda. I think it's very different this time around. Speaker Johnson has really brought the conference together, as we saw that when he was elected as the Speaker of the House on January 3rd. You know, there's still folks that are skeptical, and rightly so, but with President Trump leading at the White House and with Speaker Johnson and Senator John Thune as the leader, there seems to be more unity and the desire to work together and get this package moving as quickly as possible. I mean, our chairman, Jody Arrington, on the Budget Committee, I have not been more impressed with a chairman of a committee that is so focused on making sure that we address our budgetary issues immediately, but and then, you know, going to the conference and collaborating with every member, saying, you know, what is the important piece that you want? So I think the collaboration that has already started under Speaker Johnson's leadership has made a tremendous difference, and I hope and believe that that's what's going to carry us across the finish line.
All right, so I'm just curious about this as we leave, though. This is going to be your fourth term in the House, but are you considered a freshman again? A freshman plus? What's your status with seniority?
Well, I'm taking advantage of all of them. So if I get to, you know, I get invited to the freshman meetings, I go. If I get invited to the senior meetings, I go to those. But, you know, I think that experience will be helpful. I know it is for me personally. I got to serve in the Indiana State House in a very tight majority back in 2005 when Mitch Daniels was our governor, and he had a huge agenda. Indiana we kind of had lost our way. We didn't know really what we were. Our budgets were out of balance. But Mitch Daniels did a tremendous job of putting an agenda forward and leading. And with that small majority, we had to stick together. You know, the larger your majorities get, people start jumping off and, you know, asking for this, asking for that. And with a tight majority, I believe we can actually be more successful because we have to hang together. If we don't, the Democrats are going to be running the day.
You're right. Congressman Marlin Stutzman from the Fort Wayne area in the Hoosier State. It'll be fun over this weekend, and come noon on Monday, it'll be even more fun. Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rob.